Hello and welcome to the break. A quick draw 2 against Chelsea. Fantastic result. And to help me do so, I have the wonderful Ian and, of course, live, our correspondent from the Stamford Bridge Stadium for a 60-second summary because the signal's not great, John. John, would you like to go first very quickly? No, can't hear anything you're saying. Can you, Ian?
Nope.
No. John, can't hear you, mate. Just give us a thumbs up. Yeah, it's not gonna happen for John, unfortunately. Jan, though, it felt like a defeat. And if I'm honest with you, I had Jazz, my partner, sat next to me, and she had the scores coming in on her phone, annoyingly, on the Everton app ahead of it. So when it was a 1-1 and we scored the corner, Doucoure nodded in beautifully from James Tarkowski. Jasmine looked at me and smiled, and I kind of knew then we'd scored. And then late on, I said to her, if we score again or Chelsea score, just please don't tell me in advance. Don't give me any cue. So when Sims buried that chance, it was a shock. I mean, you don't expect that turn of pace, but the
long legs.
Yeah, super excited. Welcome to the stream. I'm going to be on for a few minutes, and then we've got Chris, who's going to be taking over from me. Jan, you can't stop smiling. I mean, in the context of it, it's a fantastic point, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. I mean, I'm missing short Dyche's post-match here where they got him on Sky Sports. And I really want to hear what he has to say about Ellis Sims and not bringing on Mopé.
Please turn it up.
Are we not going to get into trouble?
Not for playing an audio, I don't think.
Okay.
Or if it's on in the background, it's hardly like you're broadcasting it. I'll just cross over to John very quickly for 1 minute. John, you got to go to an Everton game this season down in London, and it was a result you can be proud of. Your team did you proud today, and you fans look brilliant down there. Don't know whether John's zipped his mouth shut or are we listening to Sean Dyche first, are we?
Well, he's just talking about there's a lot of cosmetic.
Let's go.
Oh.
John, the signal's atrocious, mate. Just give us a thumbs up. That's all we want from you. Yeah, we're going to let John go. Bye, John. It's not going to work. It's unfortunately, it's not going to work. What's Sean Dyche saying then?
Oh, they're asking him about the penalty.
Turn it up.
He's comparing it to Seamus Coleman, where he got kicked in the back of the legs, and he says it's similar.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen what else has happened elsewhere today. I'm sure you have kept it.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Leicester managed to get a point. Southampton got a point. Leeds have won, which means there's only 4 points from the bottom all the way up to 12th place. Have you ever known it this tight before? And what's it going to take to stay away from the bottom three?
Well, it takes wins, of course. It takes performances. I mean, we're really working with the players on the performance levels and the consistency of performance. You know, we can't affect everyone else. They'll have to do their own work. But we're staying focused on that. It's always been a belief of mine. Obviously, if things go in your way, help you along the way, and that's great. But you can't rely on that. You've got to rely on yourselves. And I think we're building that mentality to work hard for ourselves and not overthink everyone else. And, you know, slowly but surely, the mentality is improving all the time, and the commitment to the cause is improving all the time. And that was on show, certainly, in the second half today.
And just a final point, and I suppose it's another wider point, Sean, as well. You've been in this situation before as a manager with a Burnley group. How would you compare this team that you have now to Burnley? Do you feel you have more tools at your disposal?
Well, there's certainly talent here, but different kinds of talents in football. You know, Burnley, we showed a different way of winning, a different way of approaching games to win games. This group, I think we're laying down a base to work from. I still think there's talent here. There's different kinds of talents. We're trying to give them the freedom to play. I mentioned that at half time. I said, look, a lot of what we've done in the first half defensively, the attitude towards defending was fantastic. I said, no, we've got to play. You know, you're good players, very good players. So I said, part of it is also the belief to go and play. And there's pockets second half, and we did that better. And I still think there's more to come from this group.
Sure, thank you. Nice break for you now. Feet up for a couple of minutes.
Oh, yeah, of course. sort out that with your manager. Just take it easy, do nothing.
Congratulations. Good point tonight. Thanks for
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Jan.
Yeah, I mean, quite rightly, it does feel like,
Turn it down a switch now.
as people have said, it does feel like a win,
Yeah.
equalising that way. Prince Rupert just said it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got some happy people in the comments. David, Prince Rupert, Lila, Everything Everton, welcome to the stream. Emma, Dave, Richer, Mr. Blue Skies, Chris, TJ Mid, Peter,
Robbie.
Peter Duggan, Robbie Pritchard, Kevin, Ian, and so many. Blue Nose WKD Dublin, Ian, FGA Football. I'm so happy that we've got something to shout about on a Saturday evening because, Jan, I'll be honest with you, at 2-1, I was thinking, it's just one of those days, really.
Yeah.
Chelsea getting another penalty, a bit like the Goodison one.
I mean, we were very much under the cosh for a lot of the first half. We grew into it a little bit, but I mean, it's quite nervy. I was talking to Chris over messages, and it was strange that I always expected us to be on the back foot, but and maybe and to not have as much possession. But I mean, as it was, we had very, very little, and to think that. We held on, we didn't capitulate before half time. I thought, okay, we could nick a goal here. Now, when that first goal went in, people could blame Keane, but it was just an instinctive thing to get it away from the box. And the further out it is, the harder it is for the opposition to score. I wouldn't necessarily blame him because he's on the turn and the ball's come from behind him. So he pokes it out and I think that he did relatively well, but it was a soft goal to sort of trickle it just out of reach. And you'd think that could, any other day, that could have dinked, just gone wide of the post or come out, and just for it to dink in and go in like that.
It's really annoying. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was a bit annoyed because we left Ben Chilwell with acres of space, effectively free. And then the ball goes out to the left to him, which is very predictable. No one goes out to him fast enough, but then it's crossed and Michael Keane, just put your foot through it, clear your lines. We were outnumbered in transition as we are. And unfortunately go straight to a Chelsea player. And you're right. It was like a slow motion goal. You wonder whether we could have done better. Maybe Pickford was short-sighted, but at 1-0, you're kind of thinking, are we going to have enough to get back into the game? Yeah, but we absolutely did. And it was a couple of corners in succession. And the second one, James Tarkowski, so good from the corners, heads it down. And Doucoure is there to knock it over the keeper. Similarly to how we did against Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, exactly the same. And I think that's a similar, if Tarkowski's not going to be able to get he just puts it in the mix. And the trouble is, though, what you see a lot of the time, especially in the last couple of years, is you get referees automatically giving, just as soon as there's a mix of bodies in the penalty area, it just gives the free kick away. Now, I don't know about you, but there was an instance where we had a throw in on our left wing, quite high up, and it gets thrown into the box, and Onana jumps in. And there's plenty of times when they're all over our players, and it's just part of football. It's a physical game. It's a contact sport. And then he just automatically gives a free kick. And I wouldn't mind, but Kepa takes it 15 yards further forward. And I just think, what's that for? What? I don't know. But then there was a couple of times when you're looking at this going, I mean, I don't want to bang on about it, but it did seem rather strange, some of the refereeing decisions. I only say this because somebody wants to ask about the legality of the penalty, whether we can discuss the penalty, because, and what caused it, and whether we're going to talk about the stuttered run, lead on to that. But it seems really strange that there's plenty of instances. I mean, there was a point where Iwobi kicked the ball at Chilwell's foot and he blew up.
Bizarre.
And we got a drop. Very bizarre because it wasn't a head injury. It hit his foot and he went down. Now, forgive me for saying this. I mean, I'm just sort of setting myself up here, but it's called football.
Yeah.
I mean, contact between those two things is going to fucking happen. If someone just collapses.
Most of the referees we've encountered in recent weeks, they do tend to be making up their own rules on an ongoing basis. And I just want to quickly come to the comments before we talk about that third goal and fourth goal and bring in our friend Chris, who's joining us from America today. I don't know if we'll see any of the other pundits on the channel today. So you'll have to enjoy your celebrations with us three. We've got a comment. It was a guy saying he was in Corlando, I think. Where's that one gone? There's so many
It's not
comments.
legally-
Stephen Friedrichs, this made my Saturday here in Colorado. Pleased to hear that, buddy. And I believe there's a lot of people who are celebrating in the comments. Keep those comments coming in, and we will read them out. I'm loving the reaction. I'm absolutely loving the fact that everyone's really happy. And we've got Peter here. Hit the like button. Please hit the like button. New and old members. And of course, if you'd like to keep in touch with us, hit the subscribe button right now. Jan, you talked about that third goal. I know that's annoying. I mean, at 1-1, you're thinking this is a great point. And then it's Iwobi's got the ball. If I recall correctly, Iwobi's got it down the right. We're in control of possession. We're kind of a little bit squeezed over to the right-hand side. Squeezed over to the right-hand side. And Iwobi gives the ball away very, very softly. Kind of puts his head down because he knows it's a dangerous situation for Chelsea. They run up. The ball goes in behind the space between Tarkowski and Ben Godfrey. And the two of them kind of get caught under Reece James. But he was falling. He was waiting for the contact.
He'd already decided, and he was falling over Tarkowski's thigh. There was no contact to cause that, and it just shows you the theatrics. And I talk about it every week. One end of the pitch, the players have infinite strength to hold off an entire torrent of tackles, like Reece James. Exactly the same thing against. It was Badiashile against Coleman. And then on the other hand, you have, oh no, I'm going to lose possession here. Flomp. Anyway,
the most amazing thing about this game is we showed immense bravery to come back after that penalty. And just because Jonathan is leaving Stamford Bridge right now, I will go to Jonathan first before we really interrogate that third and fourth goal. John, you've just been to Stamford Bridge. It's the third time catching you with the smile on your face. You're absolutely beaming. Everton getting a 2-2 draw, come behind from twice. This time it was the reverse of the Forest game. And it's amazing how your mood changes when you're actually coming back to equalise rather than surrendering the points. But John, give us your very frank and quick assessment, if possible.
Come on, let's go! Great result. And you know what? Ellis Sims comes on, makes an instant impact. Let's go. The fans were singing their heart out, always singing the blues, and there was absolutely great atmosphere. Obviously, we went down twice, but we pulled it back, and that's what's important. It's an incredible point for us away from home. Obviously, our away form isn't usually that great, but it was a great impact, great draw, but that really does make the difference, especially when we've got 3 hard games on the bounce. Obviously, we've got Spurs and we've got United, so that makes all the difference. And you know what? The confidence that will give us as well moving forward. Sims, hopefully we can see more of him. The impact, he has passion. We were losing so many of the second balls, and obviously we were on the back foot because we're just trying to defend. But the fact that he got stuck in and straight away made that impact, it was brilliant. And you know what? Up the Toffees, great point. Let's have him next week. Come on!
We'd have taken a point before kickoff. I think we all unanimously agreed that in the context of this match, as a Everton versus Chelsea away from home, a point is a good result. But it actually feels like a win, John. And really, we matched the results of the other teams around us, apart from Leeds, who I think got a fluke win today. We're keeping going, and we have to get through these difficult fixtures. I think 3 or 4 points from these 3 games in total would be great. If we can beat Spurs, I don't think it would matter so much. I think the other game, because I think we were 3 or 4 points is a realistic ambition. But very brave from Sean Dyche, you'd say, to make that substitution, to take off Garner, who was having a decent game, and bring on Ellis Sims. And, you know, he hasn't scored yet for Everton. That's his first Premier League goal for Everton, you know, his boyhood team that he's been at for many, many years.
That's what I said in the before, though. I was like, I wanted to see us in the preview. I said, if we are losing or if we are behind, I want to see something different. Instead of being the old team that we were, always sitting back, always just passing around the back and going backwards, we've actually gone forward, we've given it to them, and we've stuck it at them, and we've pulled it back. And that's what I want to see us. We have nothing to lose if we are 2-1 down. You may as well be 3-1 down. So come on, the boys.
You've got someone watching you.
When we attacked and actually went to score, we looked like we carried a threat. We had played with purpose. We had character. We had intent. And I thought the goal could come. I didn't think Chelsea were that strong. But unfortunately, it's when we lose the ball, that very quick transition, that we have a little bit of a lack of legs in midfield and in defence, that you feel that you're going to get caught out. Jan, would you say that was probably the area of concern? Maybe those transitions again.
Honestly, I think that I think that we were getting caught out because it's a swings and roundabouts. It's a cost benefit analysis that somebody said before. I don't know. Maybe we can find it in the comments, but somebody said that Iwobi and Neil didn't do very much. But I also think that they were responsible for covering Godfrey and Coleman, because with Chelsea doing a lot of what they did, the style of play with Pulisic and Joao Felix and whoever they've got on the wings, going forward.
We sat back, to be fair, Jan. We did sit back for a lot of the game and invite them on. It was only when we went 4-4-2 that they turned Chelsea the other way, and we looked like we were going to cause problems now. Anyway, Jan, do you want to ask John anything else while we've still got him, just because he's about to get on a tube?
Well, no, John. Honestly, have a safe trip back. It's good to have you, and straight from Stamford Bridge. But got to ask a question: did it feel different when Sims came on? Like, not just his impact on the game, but the attitude. Did it look like, oh, lads, we can actually do this. We can pull one back, and the confidence that we've missed all season to score 2 goals in a game.
I think it was very deflating to start off with, because obviously we pulled it back. And then to give away a stupid penalty, it's very frustrating. But the fans kept singing, we kept going, and we were trying to push for it. And you know what? It brought a bit of positivity, a bit of pace, and a bit of strength. Because, as I said, we kept losing the second ball, and it felt very loose. And it was a pretty frustrating game to start when we were watching. But we got into it, and when Sims came on, it did make the difference. And you know what? He just has the passion, and obviously boyhood club. He wants to be there. He wants to play. And I would love to see more of him, because obviously the impact he came on and made instantly, he's done more than any of our other strikers. The impact that he's made just from that brief 10 minutes of play is something that I haven't seen from other people when they've come on.
Thank you, John. Have a safe trip. The fans look great. You were part of it, so you were massive for that. That's John live from Stamford Bridge, and I've got a very good substitution that I'm about to make in a couple of minutes' time, all the way from United States of America. A couple of comments very quickly, Anne, before we bring in Chris to analyse the 3rd and 4th goals, if that's okay. This one here, McNeil did very well. He did kind of make it into a back 5 at times, but Iwobi the same, coming into, and it became like a 5-4-1. It was quite a flexible defensive shape.
Yes.
You've touched that badge.
I do think we weren't, what's the word, proactive. I mean, in terms of playing our style of football, we had to respond to Chelsea, because Chelsea, from the off, this match could have gone many different ways. Obviously, it depends if we'd have gone all guns blazing, but we started to tire towards the first half of the game. But then I was quite pleased to see that maybe it was just they were eager to get in at 0-0 and see what we could do and how we could disrupt them. And the style of the game changed. It was almost, Chelsea's play was reminiscent of the Wolves game that I mentioned in the pre-match a few games ago, where they were. It wasn't so much determination as it was desperation. They were like, we need to do this. We need to get forward, go. And you could start to see these elements of frustration seep into their game.
When we disrupted Chelsea and we made it into the back 5, as I just alluded to there, we made it difficult for them, to build momentum. It was only really, really late in the game where they were chasing the 3-2 that I felt that they were just all over us. We did well to break up play. We did well to get the tackles in, and we were solid in there. I've completely forgotten, but I had a really good point. FGA Football says if the players have found a new lease of life, I have to agree. Have to agree with you on that one. And Everton tend to raise their game against the better teams. Well, let's bring in Chris to talk about those 3rd and 4th goals. Chris, thank you for joining. Let's get your initial 60-second thoughts before we talk about those 3rd and 4th.
Sure. So I have to say I deserve a bit of credit for this draw, because my dog had to go outside pretty badly on about 86 minutes, and I was trying to hold it off. I was like, man, can he wait a few minutes? So he comes up right next to me, and he kind of gives you the little shake, and I'm like, okay, fine. Before the game, it's, we're down 2-1. I'll go take him out. I come back in. I see the score is now 2-2, and this is what I do. And I go back and watch the rest of the game outside, because I didn't want to tempt any sort of fate. So I'm not saying I deserve all the credit, but just a little bit. That's all. Listen, we're all buzzing over here because after you go down twice with what we've talked about for the last couple of weeks and this team getting down on themselves after they concede a goal, to respond in that manner twice, that is an unbelievable result to get that point, and it really does feel like a win for that reason.
Nice to see you smiling, Chris. Jan, you just did shot, really, aren't you? Really, but
I am. I've got it down there. Shell shocked. I thought when that first goal went in, as Chris said before, absolutely, the first goal was going to be pivotal, or at least experience has told us that in the last few games. I thought, and such a soft goal as well because we defended so well, and then when it's a penalty, I mean, you can argue about it, saying that Godfrey was the one that made the contact that brought Reece James down. However, it wasn't an intentional go for the ball. It was more a tangle of legs, which is exactly what Coleman didn't get awarded the penalty for, last week. So then, and he's already going down. I think it's just when you make the referee question like that, knowing Everton.
But it's the way that the two of them tangled together.
It's still a pen. That's the thing. We wanted the pen then, and it's a pen today. And so it's stupid. I'm in agreement with you, Ryan. I didn't get that one. I just thought it was a brain lapse.
He dived, they were rash, and then they're looking and they're smiling as if to say, look, ref, this is a pass. It's like Tarkowski. He's like smiling as if to say, fuck, what have I done?
Yeah.
But it was completely unnecessary, and we thought we completely thrown it away, Chris, haven't we? Well, at that point, did you fear the worst to 3-1 potentially?
Oh, no, I wasn't even worried about 3-1. I really thought that it was just 2-1 final, typical Everton game. We've gone behind again. We've absolutely thrown it away. That's what it was. And I had accepted it and moved on to next week. And that's not, that's a pessimistic view, but that's how I was feeling.
Especially when it's a penalty, that's so Everton. That's Everton. That
100%.
We did have Goodison against them as well.
Well, it's just a gift. Exactly. It's same challenge. A challenge from behind with the court. Whatever the case, it was such a stupid way after fighting back the way we did to just give it away. And at that point, I had just accepted the defeat. But I mean, again, couldn't be more pleased as punch, as some would say across the pond.
Yeah, and you're not happy with the penalty, are you? Itself, actually, the take.
I don't know. I mean, the letters of the law say you are allowed to stutter, but it seems very. It's not really.
If Pickford waits there, he could save it. Does he commit too early?
No, I don't think so. He goes down, and you have to respond. You can't make the penalty taker. He didn't make him shoot in that direction. I mean, Havertz has a history of scoring quite a few penalties in different places, and he's a good penalty taker. He's a good player, but personally, in the same way that you can't completely stop, or that they have to be on the lines. If it's talking about, I know before, when we were talking, I think the Blues said before, well, yeah, it's a pen. Absolutely, I agree, it's a pen. But my issue is that it just seems so. It's frustrating to concede a penalty in that manner, so soft when we weren't given it, and then it wasn't just I'm going to go up and take the penalty. If you run up, have a good shot, bang, it's a penalty, fair play, because it shouldn't be a given. But to do that, it just seems. It reminds that it's kind of in the same spirit as. Do you remember when Liverpool got that last goal, the very bloody late one against Barcelona, where they misdirected and the ball boy chucked the ball, put it on the penalty, and they passed it in and crossed it and bang and it was in. And it just seems like that's just that's not cricket. I know, and I know I'm only saying it because I could say, oh well, if we do that. But I'd hold my hands up. I very much say I don't like it when we do this, and I don't like it when the opposition does that. And
2-1 though, you are really fearing the worst. You're thinking, bloody hell, we've come back into this game. We've done that Everton thing again. We're all going to be miserable. Looking at the table, oh God, West Ham have got 2 games in hands on us, and they're the only team that's keeping us out the relegation zone. But Chris. Very brave. We did criticize in our sort of mini season review Sean Dyche's substitutions and said he's too passive at times. This time he was very brave. He took Idrissa Gana off, who hadn't had a bad game, and chucked on Sims, went 4-4-2, and we pressed 4 in the front line, 2 in the midfield, Onana and Doucoure, 4 up front effectively, and just pressed them. And we realized that when we actually stop them playing out through us and
Look at Jan.
pin them in, it's buzzing. Well, I'll pin this to Jan then. Jan, we really pressed them. After when it went 2-1, we
High
stopped,
press.
pushed up really high and
Yeah.
stopped them playing through us. The danger of that is obviously if they beat that press, it's slug and snail in defense and they can pass around us with ease and probably would get the third, but
we
very
played
brave.
But we played very tight and we covered our men, and there was a lot of cohesion in defensive strategy from everyone, from top to from front to back today. The way that we, that there was the signalling, it's reminiscent of Moyes' early days and the way that he just got the fundamentals and basics of don't let the man pass. If you do, you cover and you
But it's
signal.
not just long ball. It's not just long ball, and it's not just low block. It's high press, Chris, isn't it? There's a high press in there.
It is. And to be fair, those are the risks you have to take, because you were saying that's how they might get their third. That's how they almost got their first on a couple of occasions in the first half. We were playing the high press pretty tight. It wasn't that there was lack of effort, but Chelsea were beating it just left and right. Hence a lot of, their counter.
Well, I actually think, Chris, it was a two-man press in the first, Doucoure and Gray. And when we were chasing the game, it was 4 people right up high in the 2 central midfield. Everyone had squeezed up.
I think there was more of McNeil in the first half than you're remembering. At least that's what I took a little bit from the first half. No, there was more in the second half. Don't get me wrong, but early on, I noticed it. Whatever the case, though, I couldn't be more happier with the subs. And as much crap as we gave Sean Dyche after the Forest game, he deserves all the credit today. He got his subs absolutely spot on correct. You put Michaelenko in his natural position for the second sub. You move Ben Godfrey over to the right. A little bit of risk there, but again, at that point, you have to take the risk. His natural inclination to attack on the left side. Godfrey's going to be pressing up on the right, and Sims and Gray up top. That's what I've been wanting for weeks, and we finally saw a little bit of it. And what a strike by Sims! It's not a world-class strike. He puts it low. He puts it with pace. Kepa has trouble with it. I loved every bit of the subs. I loved every bit of the last 10, 15 minutes. I think we're all buzzing.
Do you want to see us play a 4-4-2 against Spurs, or do we have to try and take the midfield again? Because they've got Højbjerg and, I'll leave that to...
No, I wouldn't hate that. I also wouldn't hate the same lineup as we started with today. I think Spurs are a different team than also, which Spurs team are you going to get? We'll get to Spurs here in a bit. But,
equally mentality-wise, but also, haven't they got some injuries from today?
Well, but it's a couple of weeks off. I want to wait and just see how their team's looking here in a couple of weeks.
I'm not interested in Tottenham right now. Mark said he's over the moon for Ellis Sims. Well done, lad. Kevin says Sims has opened up a new possibility. I mean, it was a bit of a lucky finish in terms of it was straight at the goalie, but it goes through him. It was hit with enough venom to beat the keeper.
He shot the ball. That's it.
It's the move, isn't it, Chris?
It is.
To take the ball on the half turn, beat Koulibaly, who I've watched for years, is a fantastic defender.
And defend off the pulling back, because Koulibaly could have easily gotten booked on the jersey grab there as well. And Sims just keeps going.
He was already booked. Koulibaly was already booked.
Well, right. But the point is, you look at the likes of a couple of folks that we've had before that would have just gone down right there, and it's just a wasted time, wasted opportunity. But Sims had the wherewithal to keep going. And again, no, not the greatest shot, but any shot you put on net has an opportunity, and he did. Full credit.
I don't want to start any arguments between our regular viewers. The Blues has said he can't see Sims starting. Remember the derby, yeah.
He doesn't press as well. He doesn't press as well as the others, does he?
But Peter has said, then again, if you've got a lone striker like we had very much with Lukaku, with the support from behind him, but Peter says it's the hallmark of a great goal scorer, the way that he just brushed past Koulibaly, the off the ball to get the shot away. Reminded him of Lukaku.
It was like Romelu Lukaku. I'm not getting too ahead of myself. I think he does it. He's similar. He doesn't press like Lukaku. Neither of them pressed. But if we're playing on the front foot and we need a goal, and certainly at home in some of the games, I wonder whether we can get Ellis Sims scoring some goal. Because goal scoring is something you've got or you haven't got. I don't think that is something you can really teach players. I think you can improve them, but I think that's an instinctual thing and an awareness. And I'm absolutely delighted that we got the point, and it was Ellis Sims coming off the bench to score. And now Everton have scored 5 in 3 games, and we're scoring goals now. We got 4
away in 2 games.
Yeah.
And Jan, what would you put that down to?
A change in confidence. Sorry, by the way, there is a very funny comment.
Yeah, we all saw.
Go on. There's loads of comments.
No, we can't post it. We can't post it.
What was it?
Nothing.
Start it for me.
No.
Come on, this is cheering me up. I'm really not well.
It's dark. It's absolutely hideously dark. I can't. I've got a very dark and twisted sense of humor, and I can't.
Which
We will
person is
get
it?
in some.
Just star it.
I'll tell you afterwards. Go
Is it
on,
this
yeah,
one?
go on.
Is it this one?
Look, just Ryan, stop it. What did you ask me again?
I don't know. Just made up with the point. We're going to go to comments. Doucoure and Gray. Gray doesn't stop running today. The fitness levels, it's clear that there was an increase in that. Doucoure, again, he's being asked to do so much in midfield and actually press and score. Getting another goal was magnificent. Dwight McNeil, again, looked a threat. Probably the only area of concern is maybe just the centre-backs today. I didn't think we were that assured at times. But actually, on this second hand, they dealt with a lot of stuff. Michael Keane although he made that mistake, he headed a lot of chances away. He cleared these lines a lot. I mean,
yeah, and it's unfortunate that most are just going to remember the mistake. They didn't see what else he did during that game. I saw a comment earlier. Tark was lucky to not be sent off. I'm not going to go that far. Tark also gets an assist on the first goal as well. I mean, Tark did plenty of good things, but unfortunately, people might just remember the bad. I hope not.
Well, no, because I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to pick apart. Because you want to look for areas of improvement, but we defended very tightly. We were very compact when we needed to be. Yeah, obviously, we're responding to a very aggressive and very joined up Chelsea team that even from the off had the confidence and the skill to play three at the back and to play it quite comfortably against us. And they did that. And so then it became a chance of, well, we can't really dominate the midfield. We have to bring players back. We have to do the high press, as we did do. Doucoure played box to box, closing down. Gray did a very good job. Iwobi and McNeil did a very good job of covering the fullbacks. Tarkowski, I think he had a very, very good game. And you have to, he's not massively quick, but he's defensively good, and that's what you needed him to be. There's a balance there, and I think we did very well, considering that accepting the reality is we've got very limited tools in our toolbox. We don't have players that can shoot wonder goals from distance. We've got a very select few number of tactics when you really boil it down compared to City, Arsenal, Chelsea, the teams that really have a lot. And we're reliant on joined up football, which we did at times, but we don't have the incisiveness of Chelsea. There were times when we were a bit hesitant in going forward, but then equally you don't want to get caught with your pants down and spanked. And I thought that Doucoure did phenomenally well. Onana was a little bit, as Ryan might be pleased to hear me say this, a bit disappointing. But I think that
he was okay, actually.
Yeah, but I think we're going to see more cultivation. Just as you can't teach people to shoot, I think there are some things that you can teach, and it's more about being cultivated and that composure that comes with knowing that managing yourself through the game.
No, you're spot on, and we brought it up earlier in the week. Chelsea's injury list could nearly fill out our starting 11, if we're being honest. And so the fact that we went in there and we got a point is unbelievable. I 99% of the time, I'm never going to be one to. I'm about moving forward, not worrying about past managers, who we have now, et cetera, et cetera. But I want to ask you guys, under our previous manager, what do you think that scoreline is today after we go down 1-0?
3-0.
Easily. I mean, Frank Lampard wanted to play a different style of football with players that he didn't suit. And I think Sean Dyche is playing the style of football that I think suits them, but it's not necessarily all long ball. There's a lot of interchange here and waiting, but the difference between this and Lampard is Lampard would have us fanning around at the back. Our 50, we'd have more possession, but it would be playing it side to side in the back and then back to the keeper and then launched forward. And then there'd be huge spaces between everyone. Where this is, as Jan loves to say, joined up football and with a purpose. And we've got 5 points from 3 games. That's a good run. It's a shame he's come in with his hands tied, i.e. the league position and the lack of funds, because I'm confident over the course of 38 games, I'm sure this isn't just a new manager bounce. Hopefully it isn't, that we'd be around the 10th to 12th mark, possibly with this group, and even with maybe another striker and another winger, maybe another midfielder who can play 8 and score, pushing for Europe.
Sounds crazy, doesn't it?
I don't think it's a new manager bounce, because if it was a new manager bounce, that would have gone very much downhill, and we'd have seen a very big difference after.
Well, our new manager bounce ended the week after Arsenal anyway. If we're really being honest, when they didn't turn up at the derby, but he's got his players buying in. The American coverage over here I was watching after the game, and they were just talking about how Sean Dyche has been able to get just that extra boost out of his players that Lampard couldn't, and that any other manager likely wouldn't as well. Whatever he's saying, whatever he's doing, the players are buying in. That's all we can ask for, and the results are showing. And I couldn't tell you I don't know how long it's been since we put 2 in at Stamford Bridge. It has to be many years for that. I don't know how long it's been since we've got 4 goals and 2 games away.
I can remember a couple of 3-3 draws at the Bridge. And a couple
back in 2016, 17. When was that?
Yeah, I remember ones where Lukaku and Morales had scored, and we bottled it. And there's been a few, to be honest.
The Funes Mori one sticks out to me.
This is a very good opportunity. Very good opportunity, as we've got nearly 100 people watching live. Thank you. Welcome to Follow Everton. I'm Ryan, and we have the wonderful Jan with us and Chris. And you guys need to hit the like button for us right now. Let's get this
like,
video
share, subscribe, tell a friend.
Tell your dog. Get the subscribe button hit. We're nearly at 2,000 subscribers. I know that roughly 50% of people who watch this video, watch our videos, aren't subscribed, but I know a lot of them return. It's like, are you lazy? Can you just hit that subscribe button for us? It doesn't cost a penny.
One button, just do it.
It doesn't cost anything, but it really does help support us.
And it would make Ryan so happy. Look at his little
that
face.
Smile. You don't want that to go away. And if you missed his big smile a few days ago, don't worry. We saved it, and we'll be showing that later as well.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me.
I'm now going to pass you over to our brilliant Jan to go through the comments.
What comments?
Well, okay, I'll start you.
What I like comments?
This. I like this one here. We like the rack and bone team on the bones of our arse from Merseyside, playing a team who've recently spent 500 million. He's just really a good motivator, isn't he?
Well, he's got them working. He has them. Accountability is the word, right? Some people want to talk about the identity of the team, but I think Sean Dyche has preached accountability. You know, be responsible for your own actions, for you yourself and your fellow teammate. And I think the players have bought into that simple message. Maybe that's what it took. Someone to just kick him in the backside a little bit.
Yeah, I think that we've seen a couple of comments. I think I showed them up before. One where it's simple football. It's also confidence, and it's the belief in it. And fitness. I mean, it boils down to. I said this. I encapsulated this around about the time. I don't know, weeks ago, a couple of months ago, when you don't have the fitness. You can have all the skills and tricks and desire to do all the fancy stuff, but if you're half a second late to the ball, if you drop off in the second half or towards the end of a game, it doesn't matter what you're capable of or what you know your potential to be, but your confidence goes, and that has a cumulative effect week on week. If you're not getting to the ball quick enough, if you're not making the right pass, if you're not getting there to jump for the header, if you're not drawing a player because you're out of position, or you get caught and then you have to run back, and it's so demoralizing. It's like it's pissing in the wind.
Yeah. Trevor Longwell saying, really love that analogy. Hilarious, Jan. Our quality is poor. We need to fight to stay up and rebuild next year. Thank you for that, Trev. It is amazing. When we first started doing these live streams, you'd maybe have like 10 comments for the entire stream, and now it's like 10 comments per 30 seconds, and you're like trying to keep on top of it, but it is wonderful. Thank you so much for your support. Ian Clark compares it to the Cahill's last minute equalizer 15 years ago.
What a good one that was.
Peter saying we should start Sims. He's a goal scorer. That's proven by the goal. He brushed off defenders and blasted it to the keeper, who could do F all about it. Thank you, Peter.
To be fair, Damari Gray scored a couple goals for us as well.
We're being asked about the Conte interview.
Haven't seen it yet. Heard the only words I've heard about it is it's explosive, but I have not seen it yet.
Well, today's. Could someone please paste some of the quotes perhaps into the comments for us? And also, if you've got Sean Dyche's match reaction from today in writing, someone could you do that for us, please? Because
I've just got to say,
click on it.
Goodison guys, that's pissing in the wind. My point is, it's pissing in the wind if you don't have the fitness that we didn't seem to have under Lampard when Dyche has come in and he's taken it seriously with the metrics, with baselines, with bleep tests, and also an extra day of training every week, because we previously, all the players just had every Monday off when when Lampard and Ashley Cole went down to London every weekend. So, yeah.
Yeah, the extra day's training, they don't get the Monday off. Mark is saying, can see the players' fitness is improving game by game. Let's hope no one comes back with any injuries from the international break. It was massive to get something going into the national break, keep us in 15th. We can build on this. Certainly the home game against Tottenham, we should be looking to win, but injuries are a real concern. Both Nathan Patterson and Garner have been called up for England under 21s, but Connor Cody's been left out of the England squad.
I see Mr. Blue Skies earlier says Ryan's Mr. Negative is gone. Well, don't hold your breath. I'm sure that'll be back in due course.
It will return. Peter says, I agree, Chris, play them both great, and Sims sound better than Mope on the pitch.
Yeah, listen, I'm not giving up on Neil Mope. After the Villa game, I was pretty upset. That was the one where I had kind of defended him for a while, and he let us down against Villa. But I still see potential. You know, you don't score 8 and 10 goals in the Premier League as a fluke, you know, and that's what he's done at Brighton. I'm not saying that he's a world-class striker. I'm not even saying he should be the first-team striker on our team, but he's not bad off the bench, and he has the capability to put the ball in the back of the net. But I agree with you. As of now, I've been calling for Gray and Sims for the last 3 weeks. We finally saw it today. It yielded an immediate goal, and I hope that they can both see the pitch at the same time in the future, given that we don't have DCL now. If we see DCL again, then who knows? But until then...
Can you lift your chair a little bit more? Have you got a pull lever?
I can certainly try.
Just because when the comments come up, because you
can't see this beautiful moneymaker. I understand.
That's better. Thank you.
Yep.
These are great. We've got 106 people watching live, plus whoever's watching on Twitter. Welcome to the stream. Hit that subscribe button for us right now and like button. We're here to celebrate Everton's 2-2 draw away.
Thanks to all of my 50 family members who have joined us as well. No, he did, because it feels like a win. I'm telling you. Not just the fact that we got a point, but the fact that we went down twice and we equalized. I don't think that cannot be overstated how big of a deal that is, given this team's recent way of hanging their heads after a goal. Unbelievable. Yeah. I said the first goal would probably decide the game. I could not be more happy to be proven wrong. And if you told me we would go down 2-1 on 75 minutes and still find a draw out of it, I'd have said, get off the ale a little bit.
It's like starting with whip and then seeing 7-7-2 on the flop.
Right? Yeah.
Sean Dyche is getting a lot out of these players, though, isn't he? You've seen Damari Gray, who's been quite inconsistent, and he drifts in and out of games. But actually, when he's played under Dyche, he is the absolute focal point, and he hasn't stopped running, and he looks like he's got his fitness up. And Mr. Toffees asked, could Mope play up front with another striker? But actually, at the moment, you can't drop Damari Gray, and you'd argue that if it was anyone, it would be Sims and Damari Gray. And then if Calvert-Lewin does come back, and Sims is knocking a few goals in, we could go from, I don't know, sticking your head down the toilet and
he's right. Maybe
what happens
what happens the next match if I just take my dog on a 90-minute walk? I mean, do we win 7-0 or what? I mean, maybe that's the play. Maybe it's been my fault this season's been so shit. I don't know. Sorry. I apologize. I don't know. No, I agree. Sorry to get off the point but with Calvert-Lewin coming in, I mean, most of the time when Calvert-Lewin plays, he kind of, goes off as an early sub anyway. So having Sims come off the bench to me is fine. Not to mention having a physical forward up there, other than just having Damari Gray, kind of opens up Dwight McNeil's game a little bit more because he's always serving the crosses into the box anyway. If we can get that sort of performance out of Sims, it's only a positive thing for our squad going forward. I really can't wait to see how it looks in a couple weeks when hopefully everybody's fully fit, and that includes the likes of Nathan Patterson and James Garner, who I'd expect to get minutes immediately after the break. But we'll revisit that when the time comes. Just be happy about today because it was a well-deserved point.
So what are we going to do about Andros Townsend then when he comes back? Surprisingly.
I really liked Andros Townsend.
I
love what he brought to the squad. In my opinion, his leadership capabilities and the things he says are right up there with what Connor Cody does and says. And so I think I don't think he'll have any problem with not jumping right, into the squad. Sean Dyche spoke about Connor Cody this week in his press conference and how well he's done and responded to being dropped to the bench. I'm kind of curious, actually, what Andros Townsend expects, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but I mean, surely he doesn't expect to just walk back into the starting 11.
Managing expectations. Sorry, Peter's just asked, I think it's maybe the second time, what do we do if we bring DCL back in and he isn't hitting the net where Sims arguably is?
But we don't. If we bring DCL back in 2 weeks, then yes, we have today's result that Sims scored a goal, and that's wonderful. But let's not get out of hand here. He scored 1 goal now. So we kind of need to temper expectations a little bit and understand that DCL is a proven striker when fit. Let's just hope he stays fit. But if DCL's not, hitting the mark, we'll revisit that, obviously, in a few weeks. But if DCL's fit, he has to start against Spurs for me.
Balassi.
That would be it.
Yeah. So are we doing player ratings, Ryan?
We can do some player ratings. Would you like to do that?
It's just really difficult because I don't know whether to. I never know the range, whether you go sort of 5 to 7 or.
The Follow Everton official algorithm is clear now.
Hope I didn't break it. Go on.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you that 6 is just an average performance in your eyes. Now, it's your own personal interpretation. It could be an average performance based on the standards that they have set, which have been quite low. In which case, most of the players would be getting a 9 because they've upped their standards. But actually, I think it should be how you objectively see the performance as a whole and compared. I wouldn't read too much into it. I think I'm just overthinking this. But I'd say a 6 is an average performance. 5 is below average. 4 is a poor performance. 3 is a very poor performance. 2 is you've done something that's cost us big time, and
like
1 is
red card and a penalty.
Yeah. 1 is you've had a horror show, and I'd say the other way is 7 is good. You've put in a good solid performance. 8 is a very good performance. You played absolutely fantastic, and 9 is exceptional goal scorer, winning the game, turned it on its head, and 10 is like hat trick. Okay. So that's the official algorithm now.
That was an extensive player rating analysis. I hope we all kept up with that.
No.
So I'm not going to give you my player ratings because otherwise we'll be here all night. I'll just ask you two to compare. And just so you don't cheat and copy each other, I'm going to ask Chris to do his first, then Jan, and then Jan's going to give the next play before Chris responds. So we're keeping it a little bit balanced. So we agree?
Oh, we're going one player at a time then?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. Let's start with the goalie, Chris.
Start with Pickford. I have Pickford down as a 7. I thought the entire defense, but especially Pickford as well, did a great job of weathering the storm in the first half. Second half, not the finest hour. A bit unlucky on the penalty there. I was actually wondering about the penalty as well, because with the stutter, Pickford comes off his line early. So had he managed to save that, I'm curious whether it would have been called back. Nonetheless, you could argue Pickford for a 6. I gave him a 7.
Well, I thought he didn't, aside from the penalty, he didn't have very much to do. And what he did do, he punched out well and he claimed a few crosses. I'd have given him an 8, and I can't fault him for that stutter. I'm just going to go 8. I'll move on. If you want to argue or ask,
no. I'm fine with that. I'm actually going to cover the entire defense here. Normally, I'd go one player at a time. I've got 6s across the board for the entire back 4 starting. Godfrey and Keane get a little bit of a -1. You could argue for the pen. Tark, you could argue, was a 7. Coleman, again, maybe you could argue. I gave him 6s across the board because while it was weathering of the storm, they didn't really do anything outstanding to me. And obviously, the mistake from Keane cost us a goal.
Yeah, I'm going to say 7s across the board as well. I'm urging towards a 7.5 for Tarkowski.
For the defense.
What?
For the defense, you're giving them all a 7.
Wait,
I've got 6s across the board.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chris
sorry.
gave them 6s. I mean, we conceded 2 goals.
Yes.
In horrible fashion.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, sorry, I don't want to interject too much, but Keane makes
I'm
the
erring.
mistake. You
Sorry.
can
Yeah, no.
criticize that. You can't give more than a 6. Ben Godfrey and Tarkowski both give a penalty away together for me. Both have to get a 6 because other than that, they were good, but we still conceded 2 goals. So you have to judge it on the 2 elements. I'd say Seamus Coleman also didn't play that well.
But it's a very soft goal. I don't think. I think. Okay, fair enough. I mean, sorry, I didn't mean.
No, it's your player ratings. Give him a 10 if you want. I don't care.
Not a chance. I thought Coleman did very well considering his position. I thought Godfrey was to blame. and I thought Keane didn't clear as well as decisively, but Tarkowski contributed to the goal. So Tarkowski, I'd give a 7. Even though he went over, he's standing his ground, and if Reece James is already throwing himself over that, Mr. Blue Skies has gone Tarkowski 8. There you go. I mean, I'd have given Tarkowski a 7.5.
Okay.
And Godfrey a 6.
Interestingly enough, Sean Dyche recognised that Godfrey was struggling, having to tackle with his wrong foot, which led to the penalty being given away, and brought on Mykolenko and switched him over to the right for a tiring Coleman. But where's Nathan Patterson? I mean, is that's someone that we should be looking for? Was he on the bench today?
I don't believe so. Let me actually confirm that, because I want to say I did not see him.
While Chris is doing that, Jan, should move into midfield. We'll start with the left side first. Dwight McNeil.
7.
Patterson was not on the bench, and I agree. McNeil gets a 7. The legs continue to just not stop moving. A few created chances. I thought he should have done anything in the first half with the glorious chance he had after beating the defender. Either pass it off to Gray on the left or just fire a shot. One too many touches, but still a 7 for me. Not a bad performance at all.
Did he get the assist for the pre-assist sort of thing for the corner as well? Did he take the corner that led to the goal?
He did, and then it goes off Tarkowski and then Doucoure, I believe.
Tarkowski gets a half a point for me extra, delegated to one of them for that. I've just realised, but removes half a point for the
It wasn't his fault.
Thing.
And you've already took off a point. You can't give him a point and a half. It wasn't that bad of a penalty.
Half a point and then half a point. He was at 7.
I've got Onana next. Onana's just a steady 6. And again, Onana was okay today, but that's it. I still expect more from Onana in terms of creativity. Honestly, today Onana almost looked a little bit slow on the ball. And I'm kind of over his whole going down early skit, to be honest with you. That really kind of bugged me more than usual today, because it happened 2 or 3 times. Yes.
I'm going to say something about Onana.
Hang on, get ready. Record this one, boys. I can see this one. Okay, go.
Excuse me. He stopped the goal. There was a chance in the first half we get caught. I remember the Sky Sports pundits were saying this is a brilliant Chelsea move. So basically what Everton did, Chelsea would pass it, Everton would then come out and meet it. Then Chelsea would knock it away from that person. Everton would come out and meet it. And eventually it got to the point where it was pretty much a 3v1 situation. And Onana's bombing back, intercepts it, and we could stop a goal. And I hate how every time we attack, we look like conceding. And every time we sit back, we look fairly comfortable.
Right.
It's almost like we still lack the legs, which we thought we were going to get in the summer. But just wanted to say something positive about Onana.
We're really proud of you. We've taken big steps today.
I think he could be fantastic.
Of course he could, because he's 21.
Frustrates me because I think he could be so good.
You are stealing the words out of my mouth that I said months ago.
No, you copied me saying Crystal Palace could get relegated.
You wouldn't believe. Oh, no. I said that. You didn't believe it. And you were like, no. And you literally the other week, you were like, oh, okay. Yeah, you
were right. For the record,
I like this.
Palace will not get relegated.
Crystal Palace will get relegated, and Nottingham Forest will go.
I don't think that either.
Go
on. What's your stat?
Yeah. Since Sean Dyche has taken over, we've gained points on pretty much every team in the bottom half. 8 points on Palace, 6 on Forest, 5 on West Ham, 4 on Bournemouth, 4 on Leicester, 3 on Southampton, 1 on Leeds, 1 on Wolves, and 1 on Villa. Now, we'll talk about the results at the end. Should we talk about all the results today before we wrap things up?
Well, hang on. We're not done with our player ratings.
Yeah, I'm saying before we wrap things up. We're not wrapping things up yet.
Well, okay. We'll get there. Okay, hang on. Onana for you, Jan. What do you have?
7.
7. I've got a 7 for Ghana. I think that the yellow... You could argue in the first half the yellow was unfair. I thought it was a fine yellow. What I don't like is that the equivalence of that tackle in the second half was not only not booked, but not given a foul at all. And then McNeil gets a yellow in the first half. There should never on any planet have been 2 bookings for us and 0 bookings for them in the first half, but we move on. I have a 7 for Ghana game. What do you have?
I would say about the same. I'd say 7 only because I want to give Doucoure an 8.
Yeah, and I'm the same. Doucoure, I saw a few shouts for McNeil and Gray and others for man of the match. Doucoure is the man of the match for me. Fantastic in the midfield. Obviously, the goal helps as well. It almost was like the same kind of move forward and get a head-on goal that he had against Forest as well. And if that's the game we're playing, he's fine. He's talked about wanting to move forward and score goals. And it looked that way today. So an 8 for me and man of the match for Doucoure. I thought Iwobi was a 6. I thought there was entirely too many turnovers from Iwobi today. Not that it's his worst game of his life by any means, but it was almost just
upfield.
Yeah, he was. He caught out of position. It was almost like, after a couple of those turnovers, it started to get in his head, and he was a little bit hesitant with the ball. And by the way, Doucoure on the assist to Sims as well. Late, I forgot about that.
But what I will say is, I agree with you giving Iwobi 6 because it's relative to the rest of the team. But what we saw was Iwobi actually improve towards the end of the game when Godfrey was put at right back and Mikolenko was brought on for Coleman and put over at left back, simply because Iwobi's game was limited by covering Coleman. Do you see what I'm saying?
Sure, absolutely.
Godfrey was shocking at Arsenal at right back, so it was a brave move to do that.
Well, it's a chase in it's just a roll of the dice. And again, I'm okay with the rolling of the dice when you're on 80 minutes and down 2-1, because that's, at this point, it's
all or nothing.
To me, with the table looks, I understand that to an extent goal difference means something, but I'm not bothered at all if we lose that game 3-1 going for a 2-2 draw, and it ended up working out. Because I want to rate Sims very badly, but I'm never going to give a player rating to someone who only comes on for 10 minutes. Maybe I'll make an exception today, but Damari Gray, I've given a 7, mainly because he didn't stop running. No goals to show for it today, but I thought he was part of it. Had a rough time with Koulibaly in the first half. Responded fine. Still, it was a decent game for me. Nothing wrong from Gray. So 7 for me.
Yeah, I want him to get that goal, to be honest with you, because I feel like his play deserves it. It's like a Tyler task.
Right.
At some point, he's going to hit a goal, and it's like the difference in this and Mopé and maybe Sims before that, and Calvert-Lewin or whatever, whoever's played up front, was you were kind of like frustrated because your striker, you should score goals. Maybe Mopé 8 to 10 goals, as you say, should have scored something. It's not like he had no chances to score, although in a lot of the games he was starved to service. You judge Gray differently, maybe because he isn't quite a striker, and you feel like you give him a little bit of leeway. Like, he is contributing and he is pressing and he is working hard and he will get chances to score. If it's not him scoring, then someone else is, because of hard work that he's doing. Maybe he's winning a corner. The corners are fantastic, by the way. Let's do the Ellis Sims. By the way, I'm on a low battery here, so I'm gonna have to get a battery.
Well, we've been on for an hour.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go walk the dog at some point as well.
Yeah,
Ellis Sims, just to talk, I'll make an exception here and give Sims an 8 only because comes on and immediately has an impact. How
Rescues
can you
a point?
Yeah, 100%.
Brilliant 8. I'm so happy that you got his first goal. Jan, just to wrap things up then, what did you make of Tom Davies' performance?
Stop it.
The other 2 substitutions, they were late on, but
He didn't come on.
He didn't come on.
And Holgate, did you turn off?
Stop it. Mr. Negative's back, boys and girls. I told you it wouldn't last, but I at least thought it would stay until the next show. But of course, we end it in great fashion.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Very quickly
sorry.
then.
You're not even a little bit sorry.
Literally, it's a great result. But we just have to touch on some of the other results today. Leeds won. Boo. We needed a draw there against Wolves. That's a bit annoying because I think Leeds might actually have more than Wolves based on the evidence today, in terms of Leeds have got Rodrigo back and they score goals. So they're going to outscore teams. It's just worrying me.
It's an unlucky red from Wolves. I was watching that one over here, and Leeds were absolutely crumbling. Wolves got 2 back, and they're on their way to having a third if they don't get the player sent off. Oh yeah, straight red. It just kind of goes in for the challenge. He's got possession of the ball, takes a little bit too much of a touch, goes in for the challenge, and just his boot just comes over and catches him right in the leg. It's an absolute red. It's just a little bit unlucky given as he was sort of going for the ball. Whatever the case is, Wolves were absolute. I think Wolves would have equalized, but they have the player sent off. Leeds get a late 4th, and it's 4-2.
And that the other results today were Brentford and Leicester. Brentford were winning, but Leicester got an equaliser, which is a bit of a shame. But I suppose we matched their result, and that's all we really needed to do today, because we had probably a harder fixture away from home against Chelsea, who've spent a fortune and have won the last 3 games. Who else was there? The Southampton came back from 3-1 down at home to draw with Spurs. Which was slightly irritating, but they are rock bottom with the same amount of games played. I think we're 5 points ahead of them.
Dodgy penalty for the record.
Yeah, very, very bad. It reminded me of the one in the Champions League final that Sissoko gave away against Liverpool, where it's kind of like, well, there was one a few years ago where we made very similar, and it was like he couldn't see the player and he like took him down on the blind or something.
You're not speaking of the Richarlison one from last season, are you?
No, the one we gave away where he wasn't looking, He wasn't looking, and like he was eyes on the ball, but then the man comes across and he kind of hooks him.
You're
Anyway,
not on about oh, yeah. Sorry.
yeah, there's a few. I mean, some of these penalties are ridiculous. I look back at one. I remember Keane at Leicester.
Oh, Keane got for jumping up and landing on the other play.
His foot. No, but I'm actually talking about a different one there. Anyway, so that was a draw. That's a bit annoying, but I suppose again we matched the result, so it's not the end of the world.
And then Villa 3-0 over Bournemouth.
Bournemouth carry a threat. Dominic Solanke, when Villa were 1-0 up, probably should have scored. He went through one-on-one and missed. So overall, it was not shocking because we obviously got the result, and of course, Nottingham Forest lost yesterday to Newcastle. So whilst it wasn't the perfect game of results, it keeps us ticking. We've got 10 games left. Tottenham next. We need a massive 3 points. We probably need to win all of our home games, but I think if we do that, or if we win 3 of our home games and get maybe another 4 points away from home and a few draws, will be fine. Whatever way we do it.
And we could see someone that I really wish, the broken leg was terrible, and I'd really like to see possibly next season some signs that we might see Andre Gomez back.
Gomez could still come back, but I think Dele Alli won't. Just finally, Jeff Thompson says this is still a work in progress under Dyche. I'm much happy with the team. However, the lack of quality hasn't gone away. This is about as well as we can play. And Jeff will be back soon. Jeff currently is working on his 1 kilobyte dial-up internet, but we'll be back as soon as
Messenger pigeon.
Prayers for Jeff's internet, everybody.
And I do think Amy is the latest in the long line of sufferers. Since we bought her a good mic and a good camera for a laptop, her stream qualities
just can't handle it.
Jeff. So I don't know. We might have to revert to a phone situation with Amy and get a mic like what you've got, Jan, and plug it into the bottom.
We know you want to see Amy. We get it. She'll be back.
This is on my PC.
Yeah, I know, but I think you can get one on the phone. Anyway, let's wrap things up. Chris, thank you so much for joining us today. Jan, you're so happy with the point, so I'll let you do the honors today and wrap up the show.
I don't know. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, all you lovely Blues. Thank you for joining us. We know that you regularly watch this. We can see this, and you're not all subscribed. Subscribe, hit the little notification button. It costs you nothing, and it's all good for us. Like, subscribe, tell your neighbours, tell every Blue, shout it loud and proud. Follow Everton is the place to be for post-match waffle, for pre-match banter, for panic. Lovely, thank you, Ryan, for having me. Thank you, Chris, for joining us. As always, absolute pleasure. Thank you. Oh, I did a poem. I released it this afternoon. But yeah, do I leave on that? No, I did the poem. It's all right. We didn't win. So
have you got a 2-line poem for us?
2 lines?
Or have you got a 4-bar poem that you can put together in 10 seconds on that win? About Sims?
No.
You would love the Sims poem.
No.
Okay.
My quality, my threshold. Right. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm loving some of these comments. Jeff will be back. Jeff just sorting his internet. Amy will be back. Amy was on the pre-match today, and we will be back collectively for the Spurs game, and we'll probably do a show talking about knick-knacks and stuff, and maybe international football. Thank you, Jan. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Up the Toffees, boys.
Up the Toffees.